Hey, welcome to this video. My name is Eva, and in this video I talk about my eating disorder history. So if you feel like this video is good for you to watch it. If not, then watch with care or maybe not watch it. I will also say instead of eating disorder, I would say ED. And I'm still a little bit sick. I had the flu, so my voice is still not the best, but I try my best. So yeah, and I will just kind of like first go into kind of my history, the types of eating behavior patterns that I had, and then also how I healed, and also now some advice afterwards. So for me, it became first noticeable when I was around like 12, 13, maybe even 14 years old. That was kind of like the time in my life where I saw those models and I wanted to be like those models, like get this validation from other people. So I started to weigh myself every day, started to count calories, I started to not eat enough, I started to over exercise. I was very rigid in my mindset, and I was like, okay, I can only sleep if I eat a certain amount of number of calories, and it doesn't cannot be over a certain amount of calories. So it was really not great, and I lost some weight. Like, it was never that bad where people kind of looked at me or stopped at me, but my mom noticed, and it was just not positive because I was also always tired and didn't have so much energy, and it was just not the best kind of like mindset that I was in. And I think for me at that time it was really just an expression of a lot of trauma that I've experienced, and I didn't know how to handle it at that point. Like, I was a child. I never went to therapy when I was a child. I should have, but I never did. I mean, I don't blame my parents. It's a different generation, but still, there was just things that I didn't know how to handle. So I think that I just used this under eating, over exercising, calorie counting, and this rigidity. I used it to give me a sense of power and a sense of control, because I think at that point I felt like I didn't have that. So for me, also kind of self-hate and all those types of things, it was really for me a way to gain control back. No, so for me, not eating enough, counting calories, of course, the one side of it was that I wanted to look pretty and I want people to like me and I want to fit in school. But the other side, I think, was for sure just an expression of the trauma that I had, and I didn't know how to deal with it at that point. So that was really not so cool. And everything changed when I started to become vegan when I was like 14. Now I'm 24, so 10 years ago I became vegan, and it was really great because I had a really messed up relationship with food, that I was scared of food before, and with veganism everything changed and I saw food as fuel. I also researched now a lot about eating disorders, about healthy nutrition in general. I watched a lot of YouTube videos, I watched a lot of documentaries, I read books, so I just gained more and more knowledge about it, and step by step I could improve my relationship with food. I didn't fear food anymore, and I was just really excited about like veganism in general and about food in general. So for me, veganism was really amazing because also if you eat healthier, like if you don't eat healthy, for many people, if you eat like junk food, you have to count calories in order to stay skinny for most people. But if you eat healthy, you don't need to count calories anymore. So for me, that helped me so much to let go of that rigidity. But then I discovered the raw vegan lifestyle, which was really amazing on the one side. Like, it was so cool, and I discovered a lot about like detox, healing disease with, or like preventing disease with healthy diet. I studied a lot, kind of the connection between food and health and all of that, which is amazing. I'm really grateful for all of that knowledge. But still, at the same time, I fell into the pit that most people fall into when they start the raw vegan diet, or I would say, or many people fall into that trap, which is really dangerous actually, and that's kind of the trap of orthorexia, of losing the focus. Like, I lost my focus, and I think instead of wanting to be healthy, of using food as a fuel to be healthy, I lost my focus, and I think I used it again as a form of control, to have some sense of control in my life, because I didn't know how to deal with the trauma that I've experienced. So it just gave me a sense of control to eat like, to be like, okay, I will reach this 100% raw vegan mark. And it, now looking back, I would just give my younger self a hug, and I would be like, I'm so sorry. I'm so, so sorry. Like, um, I really missed opportunities, I think. I like, some signs of that was, for example, I had anxiety when I was going out with friends and family, because I wanted to be like raw and I didn't know if it was possible. Sometimes I didn't say yes to trips even though I wanted to go. So I wish I could kind of turn back the time and be like, chill. Like, the focus is not raw vegan, the focus is health. And I think that for me, health I can achieve with eating vegan and eating lots of fresh fruit and vegetables. And for me, that was done after kind of the first year of, or maybe 1 or 2 years of trying to figure out how to eat raw vegan, and kind of losing my focus. Then again, I read a lot of books, watched videos, informed myself, etc. Um, Also read a lot about psychology, and that's when I learned that, it, for me, I want to have a balance, and I want to have the best of both worlds. Like, I want to eat healthy, because, and eat lots of fruit and vegetables, because that's just how I feel my best. Like, I 100% prefer eating fruit over eating any junk food or any other food. Like, fruit, veggies is really how I feel amazing. But at the same time, I want to have that flexibility. I want to have, if I want to go to an event too, I want to go there, even though it's not possible to be raw vegan, because I mean, I started in 2017, so it's already like many years, and there was definitely a situation where it was so hard to be raw vegan, or it was possible, but then you had to not eat for a couple of hours, and I didn't want that anymore. So for me, I just want to be vegan. Because for me, veganism was always possible. I was almost never in a situation, maybe like 2 or 3 times when I was traveling, where it was not possible to be vegan. But apart from that, it's always so easy to be vegan. So, anyways, that helped me a lot to do a lot of research, about orthorexia as well, and to find balance, and to find kind of joy in food, and take the best of both worlds. Yes, I can eat healthy, and at the same time I can meet with friends, and I don't have to feel all of this pressure. And I think finding this balance is really different for each individual. I mean, I just grew up with certain types of trauma, and my trauma responses were like perfectionism, people pleasing, those types of things. So this rigidity in my mindset. So I think for me it's really important to create that balance. But obviously people are different, and I think for some people, if they have, for example, a food addiction or something like that, for them it does work better if they are 100% raw, or they had a certain illness, etc. So I think it's so important to look at each individual and find a balance for yourself, and find what works for you. And I feel like for me now, I did find what works for me, to eat healthy, but at the same time not obsess about it, and also find peace with my body. Like, yeah, I feel much better with that, finding peace with food in a way. And also, then, of course, because like all the trauma that I tried to handle with my food, with food intake, it just got transferred. So I started to have an unhealthy relationship with my work, um, by overworking, workaholism, and all of that. So everything changed when in the past year I started trauma therapy, and that was when I could really focus on the trauma that caused so many problems in my life, and grief, and heal. And that was really, 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 really amazing. um, and also kind of like go to the roots of the problem, like why I have that sense of being out of control in the first way. Like, why do I feel the need to have control via, in the past, via food, and then via work, etc. And I think that's really, really important. And I say that because I think that many people have the prejudice that when people have eating disorders, which a lot of people have actually, that it comes just because you want to be skinny, which I think could contribute to certain eating disorders. But for most people, it really goes much deeper. And it's like an addiction also. Like if you're addicted to alcohol, of course, for some people it's only about the substance, but I think for many people it goes way deeper. It goes about like it's about trauma that they never learned how to cope with it, so they try to suppress it. Or in my case, with when I was like 12, I tried to create a sense of control back in my life via food, because that's something that I could control. So yeah, I think it's important. I wish that in schools there would be a reformation, that we could teach psychology in schools, and we could make therapy an integral part of the education system. I mean, I don't know different countries, but in Germany that's not happening, and I think that's such a shame, and that really sets us up for a lot of problems. So yeah, so that was kind of that eating disorder history. I think now, the current situation right now, I feel really good. I mean, I'm still struggling with like a lot of grief and sadness and depression symptoms and all of that because of trauma therapy and because my trauma, but I feel I have a healthy relationship with food. There's still sometimes which is hard for me to go out with people to eat in a restaurant and then people judge me for the food that I eat or for being vegan. It's just but it's not like, it just annoys me because it's so childish and it's so like it's just so childish. So that's really something that I still don't like. So I still prefer to eat in silence or like with someone who doesn't judge me for eating healthy. But I feel I definitely reached a much healthier point in my eating history. So yeah, some lessons that I want to share is also because there's this prejudice that veganism is an eating disorder. It is not. For me, it helped me so much in getting out of my disordered eating when I was around 12 because I started to eat healthier. I didn't have to count calorie anymore. Now I never weigh myself, or probably last time was like a couple of months ago. I don't count calories. I eat when I'm hungry. I stop when I'm full. So for me, veganism was such a great part in healing. But I agree that a lot of people have eating disorders and then they go into veganism and they make it seem as if veganism would be an eating disorder. But it's not. It's a philosophy of wanting to care for animals and not cause harm and suffering. And also, something that through all the research of the last decade, basically, I've recognized that a lot of people have disordered eating. Let it be either not eating enough, eating a lot of junk food, and then not eating again for some time, or eating far too much. So, eating disorders are super common in our society, especially in women. And it's really because if you have been through something, it's just you notice it when people act a certain way. And yeah, and that's also why I make this video. Hopefully someone watches it, and it can help other people because it's very common, and it just breaks my heart if I see people struggling, even if they're like 30, 40, 50, 60, because it doesn't end. I think that usually you have to go really actively working on it, or go to therapy, but it can last forever. So I think that's still really painful, but I hope this video helps others. Also, two things that I think is really important for other people who don't struggle with disordered eating, but or in general, don't comment other people's food. This goes for like, I'm vegan, so do not say when I'm eating it's just rude and disrespectful and disgusting if you say rude comments about my vegan food. It's just so childish, and I feel like I'm 10 years vegan and I'm tired of it. I'm done with it. Also, and the same if you, for example, from a different culture and someone is from I don't know, China, and eats a different thing than you can be open about it and you can ask questions about it, like, oh, what are you eating, but do not judge it or do not ridicule it, especially if you're adults. Like, it really, I think if you're a child, it's like it's not good as well if you judge other people's food, but especially if you're an adult, at one point you need to grow up. So do not judge other people's food, and also do not comment other people's bodies. I think that's also important because many times we do not know what's going on, and if someone has like certain struggles, we could, instead of saying like, wow, you're so fat or you're so skinny, we could go to them and we could say, hey, I think you might be struggling. Can I help you? Can I be there for you? We can figure it out together, because very often it is a mindset thing. And I think that it just, the expression is through disordered eating or having struggles with food, but very often it starts in the mind. Like for me, trying to have some sense of control. And I wish that someone, when I was like 12, would, like a therapist, would have come into my life and would have said, Eva, I see you're struggling, and I help you. So yeah, that would have been wonderful. So I think maybe we can be that for like other people. If we like, you don't have to go to strangers, but like if you see someone in your family or friends who's struggling, you can just go there and say like, hey, if you're ready, we can, like, I'm here for you if you have like something that you want to share with me or something. Yeah, so for me, how does it go with me with my YouTube channel? I don't know. I think that also like this whole journey for me was of the last decade was for me also representative in my YouTube channel, and I feel like I'm done with this whole chapter. Like since 1 year, I feel like I'm done. So I don't know if I will continue with like posting about nutrition, because I also don't want to repeat myself again and again. I've already talked about protein a couple of times and I think it's enough. So I don't know how it will continue, but I will let you know. Yeah, so thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful day, and if you're struggling, please get help. Maybe go, like, if you can, get help with a therapist, or do courses about like eating disorders, things like that. Research, inform yourself, but the best thing you can do is to go to a professional, like a therapist specializing it also in like a healthy relationship with food, because it's life is so much better when you have freedom with food, and I feel my life is so much better now that I have found for myself that balance between eating healthy but also having freedom in my mindset. So that was the video for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, you can like it, you can subscribe to my channel, and that's it. See you in my next video.